Part 19. Fantasy. After thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 181. Boom. Those three immortal creatures were obviously truly angry. Each of those sweeping immortal laws contains the killing power to destroy the world. If placed in the Xianhuang universe, that one blow could shatter a star field and kill countless creatures. The horror of the immortal law is completely revealed at this moment. But Qin Hao was not moved at all by this, but his eyes became colder. Immediately afterwards, the ancient heavy pupils flickered, and Qin Hao escaped into the air at extremely fast speeds as the former secretariat moved. He was like dancing on a tightrope, passing through the immortal laws in an extremely dangerous but precise manner. As he passed by, Qin Hao had a Taoist witchcraft sign revealed on his body. The shadows of the 12 ancestral witches, at this moment, all manifest and increase. Kill. At this moment, Qin Hao formed a fist with his left hand, formed a sword formula with his right hand, and struck out with an extremely ferocious killing move. On the left fist, there was a mark of reincarnation manifested, with the power of 6 reincarnations, enough to transform all spirits. The sword in his right hand the Hongmeng immortal light condensed, like a supreme fairy sword piercing the air, capable of killing immortals and destroying gods. There was a loud bang. The 3 immortal creatures were all destroyed and killed. Their expressions changed greatly, knowing that they had underestimated Qin Hao. Get out of the way immediately. Ben. But at this time, a breath of time spread out, covering thousands of miles of void in an instant. This caused the 3 immortal creatures to be greatly affected and lost the opportunity to dodge. Poof. As the blood exploded, the 3 immortal creatures all vomited blood and flew upside down, with their auras disordered. But they were worthy of being the ones who had once stepped onto the level of true immortals. At that critical moment, they managed to avoid the fatal blow. Killing power. This guy. What kind of cultivation method is it? That kind of aura is so terrifying, not weaker than the laws of immortality at all. The eyes of the 3 immortal beings showed strong horror, even a hint of fear. Previously, they thought that no matter how strong Qin Hao was, he was only at the level of the Emperor of Heaven and was not something to be afraid of. But the fight just now made it clear to Qin Hao's combat power has far exceeded the level of the Emperor of Heaven, and is enough to fight against immortals in adversity. Even at that moment, if they had reacted a little slower, they would have been killed directly by Qin Hao's punches and swords. Then what kind of supreme forbidden technique are the 12 phantom shadows? Can they actually increase the killing power of Qin Hao, who is in the human realm, to such an extent? Oh! At this moment, Qin Hao's eyebrows glowed with fairy light, and he fought out again. He stepped on Xing Zi Mi and transformed into a Kunpeng. There was thunder all over his body, so fast that time seemed to stand still. Because Qin Hao's Taoism also contains the law of time and space, and its killing power is extremely terrifying. Destroy. The 3 immortal creatures naturally would not sit still and wait for death, and immediately launched their own immortal soldiers to attack. Countless strands of immortal laws were like a tsunami at this moment, filling the entire world, with a killing power that shocked the world. The fierce fighting broke out violently at this moment. Regardless of it was Qin Hao or the 3 immortal beings who all attacked with all their strength. Such destruction and killing could easily break the universe and the stars. The whole world was trembling violently. Above the sky, there were mysterious immortal laws. Come and stabilize this void. Is it just a dignified immortal creature? During this ferocious fight, Qin Hao's body was already covered with horrific scars. His white clothes were stained by the Emperor's blood, like a bloody man. But Qin Hao didn't care at all. Horrible injuries. Because the conditions of the 3 immortal creatures were not much better than him, and even more serious. After hearing Qin Hao's arrogant words, the faces of the three immortal creatures became more and more ugly. But at this time, he didn't dare to be distracted at all. He had to go all out to fight against Qin Hao. Not only was Qin Hao's fighting prowess astonishing, his killing style was also fearless, and he dared to fight with their lives. It was even more impressive. What is shocking is that Qin Hao's physical body seems to have been tempered by Zhen'er, and it is comparable to the immortal soldiers. He has repeatedly resisted the world-destroying attacks of the immortal soldiers, but his physical body has not collapsed. Even sometimes, there was a clear clanging sound, like swords clashing. In other words, is Qin Hao's physical body strong enough to rival the immortal soldiers? This made the three immortal creatures even more shocked. With Qin Hao's strength, if he had not been infected by the energy of darkness with his heaven-defying aptitude, then when he enters the immortal realm to practice and grow up, he might be able to claim the title of king and ancestor in the future, making all forces in the immortal realm fearful. It is a pity that he was born in a place contaminated by darkness. There is no possibility of setting foot in the immortal realm in my life. If that's all you have, then go die. Bing Leng's voice sounded, and Qin Hao's 6 secret realms bloomed with dazzling fairy light at this moment. Immediately afterwards, in the 6th secret realm, his own gods glowed, surrounded by the law pool, and stood in the sky. Whoa! The next moment, the luminous gods hugged, touching the law pool, a divine light flashed, and it shot out from the sky. It seemed that it did not belong to this world, ignoring the constraints of time and space, and attacked in an instant. In the eyes of the three immortal creatures, time seemed to be flowing backwards at this moment, and everything was like it was backtracking. Click. As soon as the three immortal beings reacted, their eyebrows shattered and blood splattered everywhere. Under the killing technique of the luminous god, the three immortal beings were all severely injured again. However, they all had great means of being reborn with a drop of blood, and they did not die. However, their souls and Taoist origins were all plundered and sealed by the law pool. Immortal forbidden. Seeing Qin Hao himself, also at this moment, coming to kill with reincarnation in his body and sword skills in his hand. The three immortal creatures who had just escaped from death immediately used their strongest means. At this moment, they used the supreme immortal method, forbidden techniques, unsealing the immortal foundation, sublimating to the fullest, and returning to the state of true immortals. Although doing so will make them once again stained with darkness. But at this critical moment of life and death, they can't care so much. If they even lose their lives, no more, do you still care about whether you will be infected with darkness? Boom. Immediately. Whether it is Qin Hao with the reincarnation in his fists and the sword skills in his hands, or the little god who surrounds the law pool and breaks out of the sky again. They were all hit by destruction in an instant. The real laws of immortality are so terrifying. It seems that at this moment, the laws of heaven and earth of the endless universe are blessing them. Have you unlocked the true immortal Taoist foundation? Qin Hao stabilized his body, called back the little god, and looked at the three immortal beings with indifferent eyes. Compared with the previous imperfections in the immortal way, now the three immortal beings have completed the foundation of the true immortal way. Now Qin Hao wants to the ones facing me are the three, the real supreme immortals. You deserve to be punished. After returning to the true immortal queen, the three immortal creatures all showed piercing cold murderous intent. Their ferocious and vicious eyes seemed to wish to tear Qin Hao into pieces. They are on the road to immortality. Guarding the immortal base for endless years, hoping to reunite with the immortal base on the road to becoming an immortal, and one day return to the immortal realm. But today, unsealing the former immortal base, and then being infected with the dark aura. Their long years of cultivation are tantamount to the success fell short. How could this not make them angry and riot with murderous intent? Even if the immortal foundation is unsealed and the immortal is restored, so what? I will still suppress you. Qin Hao sneered, took one step in the air, and rushed out at top speed again. At the moment of rushing out, the shadow of the 12 ancestral witchcraft forms instantly merged into his body. Boom! Qin Hao's momentum was like a volcano erupting, soaring straight into the sky. The power of the three true immortals that was originally shocking was suppressed at this moment. At this time, Qin Hao seemed to have become an immortal ancestral witch from the prehistoric era, and even the laws of heaven and earth were trembling. That originally, the expressions of the three immortal creatures with ferocious murderous intent were completely frozen. An indescribable feeling of fear emerged in their hearts uncontrollably. Even though they had returned to the realm of true immortals. But they facing Qin Hao now, he still has an uncontrollable sense of fear. That is, the terror of death. Fantasy, after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 182. Tianyan Technique. The sense of terror and danger, as if death were coming, made the three immortal beings stand upside down with cold hair all over their bodies. Even the laws stopped at this moment. But in just an instant, the three immortal beings reacted suddenly. They all shouted, and the immortal laws of the three people were perfectly integrated with each other at this moment. Immediately afterwards, three immortal weapons were flying, and a huge ancient immortal picture was derived. In the immortal picture, there were countless immortal lights. Diffused, as if the stars in the sky are twinkling. Those fairy lights, every time they flicker, there will be endless changes, which is unpredictable. This Tianyan technique is one of the most powerful forbidden techniques in their immortal sect. This technique, once it comes out, it is said to be able to transform all living beings and make them trapped here forever. Break. Qin Hao didn't have any extra moves to attack the ancient immortal figure that was sweeping in. He directly punched it with his fist. With the fusion of the witchcraft of the 12 ancestors, his combat power has already changed significantly compared to before. Thousands of Hongmeng fairy lights condensed at this moment, and the prehistoric law was faintly born. With this punch, the void sank deeply. Countless space cracks visible to the naked eye immediately spread in all directions. The Zhang continued to evolve. The ancient immortal picture of endless killing and calamity was punched to pieces before he even got close to Qin Hao. Poof! The three immortal beings who jointly performed the Tianyan technique all suffered huge backlash at this moment. When their bodies were shaken violently, their faces turned pale, and blood marks appeared all over their bodies, and blood spattered everywhere. Kill! But at this time, Qin Hao appeared in front of the three immortal creatures as if time had flown by. The terrifying and bone-chilling killings erupted again, like a mountain torrent sweeping across with unstoppable momentum. Boom! The reincarnation treasure technique evolves 6 paths of reincarnation. The power of time is integrated into the desolation sword technique. The shocking sound of violent and destructive bombings resounds continuously, and the entire road to immortality is shaking. The three immortal beings who suffered the backlash, even with all their strength despite this, it was still difficult to resist. In the blink of an eye, the three people who were already seriously injured were all covered in blood, as terrifying as bloody men. Click. Finally, there was a clearly audible sound of broken bones. The three statues, the immortal creatures that were struggling to support, could no longer withstand Qin Hao's killing blows. They exploded with blood. The three immortal creatures were exploded by Qin Hao one after another, leaving no bones left. Ben. At that critical moment of life and death, the three immortal beings wanted their souls to escape from their bodies. But Qin Hao had already expected it. In the 6th secret realm, the little gods reappeared surrounding the law pool, and instantly sealed their souls. God. At this point, the three immortal creatures were dead and their souls were extinguished. The Emperor of Heaven defeated the immortals. From ancient times to the present, Qin Hao achieved the unparalleled feats that no one had achieved with ease. Although Qin Hao was not seriously injured. It was light, but compared to the three immortal spirits who died, it was indeed easy. Not only that, the 9-story immortal tower also appeared at this moment, strongly suppressing the three immortal weapons. Counting the strange creature that was killed before, Qin Hao has suppressed 4 immortal weapons now. In Xianhuang Ancient Star, the ancient immortal weapons have become history, but on the road to immortality, he got as many as 4 so easily. This shows how amazing the foundation of the immortal realm is. After banning and refining the flesh and blood of the 3 immortal creatures into essence and blood, Qin Hao released the people of Dei Holy Land from the law space. See, when they saw the bloody injuries on Qin Hao, Qin Yi, and others were shocked. But then, they saw the essence and blood of the immortal creatures refined by Qin Hao. This made them relieved. It seemed that they were relieved. In the end, Qin Hao won. While relaxing, they were increasingly shocked and awed by Qin Hao's strength. Even immortal creatures could be killed directly. I really don't know Qin Hao's combat power, how far has it reached? At the same time, Qin Hao's monstrous strength also pointed out a path for them. The potential of the realm of the great emperor is far from being explored. If one has cultivated to Qin Hao's level, even in the human realm, you can also fight against the immortals in adverse circumstances. Qin Hao distributed the essence and blood of the 3 immortal creatures to Qin Yi and more than 20 people. As for Qin Hao himself, he no longer needs such an essence and blood tempered body. For the current Qin Hao, for me, the most important thing is to integrate the spirit and the body of the 6th secret realm. After Qin Yi and others have refined the essence and blood, and their condition has reached its peak, or even made a breakthrough, Qin Hao sets off again, heading towards the depths of the immortal road. With Qin Hao around, Qin Yi and others, who originally planned to withdraw from the immortal road, naturally went together. They were also extremely curious about this ancient immortal road with endless rumors. At the end of the road to becoming an immortal, is it really possible to reach the immortal realm? And is the immortal realm, as the 3 immortal beings said, closed and unable to become an immortal? 3 months passed quickly. Within 3 months, the people of Dei Holy Land experienced countless dangers and tribulations on the road to becoming immortals. Of course, there are dangers and tribulations, and naturally, there are opportunities. As for Qin Hao, he just watched quietly. Unless they encountered those weird creatures, otherwise Qin Hao would not take action easily. Even if their lives were in danger, Qin Hao would not take action. The road of cultivation is extremely difficult. If you can't even make it through this road to immortality, then how can we talk about setting foot in the fairy land? Although the heritage and luck of the Holy Land are important, Qin Hao will not protect them all the time. If they are really dead, it can only be said that it is their lives. Finally, after nearly 4 months later, Qin Hao and his party reached the end of the road to immortality. There, countless star fields in the universe formed a circle, with hundreds of millions of stars shining. In the center of that cosmic star field, there is a door so big that you can't see the end. That door is condensed with pure immortal laws, with countless immortal patterns imprinted on it. On the gate of immortal law, there are 2 ancient characters with flying dragons and phoenixes. Immortal realm. In those 2 immortal ancient characters, there was a sense of pressure as if the sky was pressing down from the top of the sky, rushing toward them. At this moment, even Qin Hao felt endlessly insignificant. Not to mention Zhang Taishu, Zhou Yang, Qin Yi, and others. In front of this supreme immortal door, they felt that their entire souls were being suppressed. Never before have they felt so insignificant. Behind this, is the fairy land. A quasi-emperor in the late stage murmured softly, unable to help but want to move forward. According to rumors, if you set foot in the immortal realm, you can become immortal and ascend. Now, the opportunity is right in front of you, which naturally makes it difficult for him to control it. but he has just as soon as he took a step, he was directly suppressed by a terrifying law. This made him come back to his senses instantly, and panic appeared in his eyes. At that moment, he actually lost his mind without knowing it. If Qin Hao hadn't taken action, he would have, is about to touch that fairy gate. And, how can he, who is in the quasi-emperor realm, touch the supreme fairy gate condensed by the fairy law? Boom! At this moment, a fairy gate condensed by the fairy law, the giant hand of magic descended from the gate of the immortal realm. The immortal laws were extremely terrifying, as if they were the origin of the laws of the heavens. The three immortals who were killed by Qin Hao, in front of this giant hand of immortal magic, he is as weak as a child. This kind of immortal law is terrifying. Such suppression directly suppressed the entire path to immortality, making it impossible for anyone to move at all. There is no doubt that this is definitely the action of a true immortal from the immortal realm. Moreover, he is not an ordinary true immortal. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy: after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author: love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 183. Break. Qin Hao naturally would not sit still and wait for death. With a roar, the 12 ancestral witchcraft came. The formation of the 12 gods and gods was set up in an instant. The terrifying fairy magic that was like completely freezing the world was forced by Qin Hao. It was shattered. He waved his sleeves. Before the people of Dei Holy Land could react, they were taken into the law space by Qin Hao. After that, Qin Hao drove the 12 heavenly gods' formation and escaped into the air at high speed. That Dao, the giant hand of law, is so terrifying. The person who made the move is probably top-notch even among true immortals. Phew. When Qin Hao escaped in the air, the attack of the giant hand of law changed. The light of immortality in a blink of an eye, the giant hand of law transformed into a fairy fingerprint. The fingerprint roared through the air. That speed was several levels faster than before. Poof. The next moment, Qin Hao, who was speeding away through the air with time amplification, suddenly trembled violently. Because the immortal magic fingerprint, as if traveling through time, had already attacked Qin Hao. Even with the witchcraft of the 12 ancestors, despite the obstruction, Qin Hao still suffered severe injuries, and the emperor's blood spurted out. His body also cracked open again, with countless blood marks visible deep in the bones. But with the activation of the Hongmeng immortal light, Zhezi Mi and other secret techniques, Qin Hao's injuries, constantly healing with astonishing injuries. Huh! At this moment, a soft cry suddenly resounded. Qin Hao's body stiffened and he slowly raised his head. At some point, he saw a majestic and boundless immortal figure blocking his way. Then the figure of the immortal master could not be clearly seen. There was only a pair of deep pupils, looking at him with great interest. In other words, he was looking at the Hongmeng law on Qin Hao. Obviously, in the place contaminated by darkness, there is still the appearance of such a pure immortal aura made the immortal figure quite surprised. At this moment, Qin Hao's heart sank. The immortal shadow blocked the road in front, and the immortal fingerprints attacked and killed him. He was already trapped, a dead end with no way forward or backward. Unblock. Without any hesitation, Qin Hao immediately sacrificed the drop of essence and blood in the 9-story immortal tower. Now, if he wants to get rid of this crisis, he must sacrifice his own essence and blood. With this immortal figure, he exudes. Even if he sacrificed the Hongmeng immortal bones, he would not be able to resist the overwhelming immortal power. Poof. At the moment when the drop of essence and blood was unsealed, Qin Hao's body shook violently, and his flesh and blood continued to explode. Because, in that drop of essence and blood, there was a trace the blood was integrated into Qin Hao's body at this moment. Even though Qin Hao's body had already condensed 178 pieces of Hongmeng immortal bones, he was still unable to withstand the terrifying power contained in that kind of essence and blood. Even if it was just a trace, it would not be possible now. Qin Hao can bear it. True immortal. Wrong. A true immortal cannot be so terrifying. Immortal king. Although the flesh and blood all over the body exploded, there were even serious injuries. But at this time, Qin Hao was not surprised but happy, with a bright light in his eyes. Just a trace of blood can give such terrifying power. If all those drops of essence and blood were fused together, what kind of terrifying situation would it reach? It seems that in the future, he will reach a level far beyond what he imagined now. This immortal power. The immortal figure who was originally looking at Qin Hao's Hongmeng Law with great interest, his eyes were solidified. The essence and blood of the immortal king. A humane monk from a land contaminated by darkness actually has the essence and blood of the immortal king. Could it be that that rumor is true? In the past, when the immortal ancient was shattered, the Xianhuan universe sealed all the inheritance of the immortal way. If you really want to say this, then the Qin Hao in front of you has received the inheritance of immortal ancient. This caused fire and heat to appear in the eyes of the immortal figure. You know, that is the Xianhuan universe, the inheritance of the entire immortal ancient era. If word of the disappearance spreads, I'm afraid the entire immortal realm will be shaken. Cut. At this time, Qin Hao, who was unable to withstand the essence and blood due to his physical condition, had already made a vicious move. Now he is in an extremely dangerous situation. Although the drop of essence and blood comes from him in the future and is connected to his origin. But that the power contained in the drop of essence and blood is really terrifying. To be honest, if the Hongmeng immortal bones were not condensed into 178 pieces, Qin Hao would probably have exploded right now. And even if it has not exploded yet, but his body has also reached the limit of support. If he does not kill the phantom of the true immortal in front of him as soon as possible, then Qin Hao will most likely be exploded by the blood essence in his body. Boom! Earth-shattering, a shocking bombing sound erupted on the road to immortality. Qin Hao, who was holding the reincarnation fist with his left hand and the desolation sword art with his right hand, turned around and punched out. The immortal magic fingerprint that came from the attack was directly punched by him. The law of violence broke into pieces. After that, Qin Hao used the desolation sword technique and slashed at the true immortal shadow in the air. It was not until this moment that Qin Hao truly revealed the power of the desolation sword technique. Although it is still far away. Far, it has not reached the peak power of the desolate sword technique. But this sword is enough to destroy the world. The shadow of the true immortal, his hands are changing seals at a very fast speed, and it seems that he is also trying to perform a monstrous killing technique. But unfortunately, with the sword light as bright as the galaxy, it slashed through the air. The true immortal shadow was directly cut in the middle. The sword energy with incomparable destruction swept through the body of the true immortal shadow unscrupulously. But that true immortal shadow is also extremely extraordinary. At this moment of destruction, his eyes blinked, and a strange ray of immortal light shone on Qin Hao. Qin Hao, who was covered in blood, his body at this moment, violent tremors. I saw that as those strange fairy lights entered the body, the flesh and blood bones on Qin Hao's body were annihilated inch by inch. In the blink of an eye, Qin Hao's entire body became broken and fragmented. Fortunately, those condensed the Hongmeng immortal bones were firmly woven by the Hongmeng immortal qi and did not disintegrate. Obviously, it was an extremely terrifying immortal eye technique, which almost caused Qin Hao's death. Die! Qin Hao shouted angrily, and once again used his full strength to display the destructive sword light. This time, the true immortal shadow that had suffered a fatal attack was completely shattered. Even in the void of the immortal road, a dark crack appeared like a galaxy. Seeing the shattered true immortal shadow, there was a strange immortal light emerging from the body. Qin Hao's eyes darkened, and without any hesitation, his figure flashed and rushed directly to that space crack. At this moment, on Qianhuang Ancient Star, the road to immortality began to tremble violently. The creatures in the entire Qianhuang universe felt something at this moment, and all looked towards the road to immortality. That is. But when they saw clearly what had happened on the road to immortality, countless creatures were stunned and stunned. I saw a huge space crack appearing on the road to immortality. A figure covered in blood, with a broken body, and whose life or death was unknown, fell out of the road to immortality and fell into the space crack. What frightened the countless creatures in Qianhuang universe was that human figure, who was not unfamiliar to them at all. The Qianhuang tribe, the invincible emperor of heaven, Qin Hao. The supreme emperor who had beheaded gods and suppressed the mythical deity actually ended up in such a miserable end. Even though they were separated by endless distance, they could still see how terrible Qin Hao's injuries were. Not only was his body covered with Dao injuries, but he was also surrounded by immortal magic and killing calamities. Judging from the destructive injuries, let alone the Emperor of Heaven in the human realm, it is estimated that even the mortal immortal who sets foot in the fairy land will definitely die. The Emperor of the human race, is this an adventure? Has the road to immortality failed? For a moment, the entire Qianhuang universe was shaken. As powerful as that invincible Emperor of Heaven, his body dies and his Tao disappears. What kind of destruction and calamity is hidden on the road to immortality? Fantasy. After thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 184. Qianhuang Ancient Star, Emperor Pass Battlefield, God Burial Pit. As the ethereal atmosphere of time and space fills the air, an ancient mansion exuding the breath of time quietly emerged from the endless void. On that ancient mansion, there are three ancient characters that exude a cold atmosphere: Netherworld Mansion. It was just as the high priest predicted. The Taoist emperor has been robbed on his way to becoming an immortal. We can take action and go to seize the inheritance of Dao Emperor. As the indifferent voice sounded, three figures walked out of the Nether Palace. Each of these three figures exuded the aura of the Supreme Emperor, enough to rule the world. At this time, the immortal realm, Shengxian Terrace. A child of luck. A young man wearing fairy clothes and carrying a fairy sword had a look of surprise on his face. Although he just used the immortal law to condense the phantom of the Dharma body and descend. But after the immortal destroying eye surgery, Qin Hao was able to escape. This surprised the young man. You know, his soul-destroying eye technique is said to be capable of annihilating all souls under the immortal king. Senior brother, Master has spread the news that the Taixu Immortal Trail will be opened, so that you can join the immortal sect as soon as possible. At this time, a true immortal wearing the same immortal clothes stepped on the ancient fire dragon and came with a shocking momentum. But whether it was the true immortal or the ancient fire dragon who stepped into the fairyland, in front of this young man, it is extremely respectful, as if facing an immortal king. You go back and tell Master that I will not go to Taixu Immortal Monument before my punishment period is over. When the young man heard this, his expression of surprise subsided and he spoke calmly. Senior brother, there is an opportunity for an immortal king in the Taixu Immortal Trail. Now that you have reached the pinnacle of true immortality, why don't you fight for it? The true immortal was extremely unbelievable when he heard that. After all, if you can win the immortal fate, then it is very possible that you can step into the level of the supreme immortal king. The direct descendants of that immortal king will also enter the Taixu Immortal Trail. Do you think that the inheritance of that immortal king will still fall on outsiders like me? The young man spoke calmly, as if he was no longer interested in the Taixu Immortal Trail. But in fact, he found an opportunity that was even more amazing than the Taixu Immortal Trail. Qianhuang Universe, in the past, was a fairyland. At the time of its glory, its foundation was strong enough to compete with the immortal realm. There were hundreds of millions of universes that surrendered to the Xianhuang universe, and were even called the second immortal realm. If not for the darkness that fell, the Xianhuang universe is only going to be even more glorious now. And it is rumored that when the immortal ancient of the Xianhuang universe was destroyed, the entire immortal ancient inheritance was sealed. A glorious period, a cosmic inheritance with a foundation comparable to that of the immortal realm. This is another how can it be compared to the Tegzu immortal relics? Although Qin Hao escaped from the road to immortality due to carelessness this time. But as long as he continues to sit on the immortal platform, there will definitely be a way to get the inheritance of Xianhuang universe. Xianhuang ancient star. When Qin Hao suffered an immortal calamity and fell into a crack in the void, the news spread that he might have died. The entire Xianhuang ancient star shook, and the billions of stars in the universe were also boiling violently. All living beings are looking towards the road to immortality. They are waiting for the result of the road to immortality. Judging from past experience, there will always be creatures that can escape from the road to immortality. They want to know what happened on the road to becoming an immortal. Was the scene where Qin Hao was robbed that they saw before real? Under such public attention, a war broke out in the eastern wasteland without any warning. Deyi Holy Land was attacked. The news of this news was even more shocking than seeing Qin Hao being robbed. Since the rise of Qin Hao, Deyi Holy Land has been the holy place of worship for the entire Xianhuang people. Now, it is still unclear whether Qin Hao is alive or dead. There are actually people who dare to take action against Deyi Holy Land. This is too courageous. Once Qin Hao is not dead, it is simply unimaginable how bloody it will be. Therefore, countless creatures gathered in the eastern wasteland to look at Deyi Holy Land. In Taoyi Holy Land, 3 figures stepped out of the air and stood side by side, looking coldly at the invading enemy outside the Imperial Formation. These 3 people are none other than Zhang Juxing, Feng Wuxia, and Prince Zixiao. Although the 3 of them are still in the quasi-emperor realm, they have not overcome the tribulation and become emperors. But the monstrous killing force emanating from it made the ancient emperor feel chilled. The 3 of them already have enough foundation to trigger the great emperor tribulation at any time. But they are all constantly suppressing their own realm. What they yearn for is Qin Hao's side, the realm of the heavenly emperor who is invincible to all heavens. Rather than simply becoming an emperor by combining the Tao, Qin Hao has created an excellent era of enlightenment for them. They will naturally try their best to reach a higher level. Open the Imperial Formation and I will leave when I get what I want. Outside the Imperial Formation in Deyi Holy Land, the invading monks were clearly powerful men from the Netherworld Palace. The 5 leaders led by them had actually reached the level of the great emperor. Even though the world has changed greatly now. But one force actually there are 5 great emperor level creatures, which is still extremely horrifying. After all, the foundation of Xianhuang ancient star is far away and cannot be compared with that of all races in the universe. This also makes countless creatures who gather in the eastern wasteland, all of them are hot. Discuss. But even those extremely ancient creatures don't know where this netherworld mansion comes from. If you don't want to die, get out immediately. Zhang Juxing and the other 3 people have cold eyes. Even if they are facing the real emperor, they are not moved. Behind Zhang Juxing and the other 3 people, there are dozens of quasi-emperor realm giants, all of them are boiling with murderous intent. As a human race, the holy place of worship was actually invaded like this. This naturally made them riot with murderous intent in their hearts. Dao Tiandi has been robbed, his body is dead and his soul is destroyed. Do you think that you alone can protect Taoyi Holy Land? The 3 great emperors of Netherworld Mansion looked at the formation of Daoyi Holy Land, and their eyes became colder and colder. They originally thought that Daoyi Emperor still used the Zhoutian star formation. But who would have thought that after breaking through Zhoutian behind the star formation, another ancient killing formation actually appeared? and the murderous aura emitted by this killing formation made them extremely frightened even when they set foot in the imperial realm. Obviously, this was Qin Hao and others when they were on the road to immortality. The means left behind. You wanna die? Seeing the three great emperors who dared to insult Qin Hao, Zhang Juxing, and the others were furious. All three of them sacrificed the Ji-Dao emperor soldiers given by Qin Hao and directly killed the Holy Land imperial formation. Quasi-emperors from other Holy Land's realm, they also rushed out together to face the other quasi-emperor experts in Netherworld Palace. As for the Holy Land killing formation, they did not need to control it, it was maintained by the laws left by Qin Hao. Boom, boom. Immediately, the world was destroyed. The war broke out at this moment. The laws of heaven and earth were colliding with endless violence and destruction, and the murderous Ji-Dao emperor soldiers were fighting. The entire eastern wasteland was shaking violently at this moment, as if it was about to collapse. Of course, when it comes to the war, the most vicious ones are Zhang Juxing and the three great emperors. Those three great emperors practice ancient methods, and their every move has the aura of ancient times. But the aura of their laws has been demonstrated in this world, so they can control the laws of heaven and earth to suppress the quasi-emperor. Fantasy, after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 185. However, facing the suppression of the three great emperors, Zhang Juxing and the others were not at a disadvantage at all. Even though their cultivation is far inferior to the three great emperors of Netherworld Palace, they are still capable of fighting against the great emperors. Zhang Juxing, born with a supreme bone, is born with a supreme bone. Later, Qin Hao was rewarded with a piece of innate supreme bone. After the fusion of both bones, he became an unprecedented invincible supreme bone. The various innate treasures learned from the supreme bone can increase his combat power to an astonishing level. Fen Wuxia was the most elite royal family among all the ancient clans in the past. Although now, the Fen Wuxia clan has become history. But Fen Wuxia was trained by Qin Hao. Fen Wuxia cultivates from the Tianwu inheritance, known as the ancestral witch of the wind, among the 12 ancestral witches. This inheritance is exactly in line with the physique of the Fen Wuxia clan. With practice, it can make him make great strides. Of course, since he cultivates the same inheritance as Qin Hao, it means that his life and death are also controlled by Qin Hao's thoughts. Prince Zixiao, fused with the Dao fruit of his father, Emperor Zixiao, and became a warrior. It's unfathomable. You must know that the Zixiao human emperor was in an era when the path to immortality was yet to come, and he defied the will of heaven and proved the existence of the seal of heaven's heart. Zixiao human emperor's perfectly condensed Dao fruit contains such shocking divine power that it is unpredictable. That day on the battlefield at Daiguan, if it weren't for the design of the alien race from outside the territory, the mark of Tianxin was isolated. It is really difficult for a half-step immortal to push Zixiao human emperor to that point. Cut. The faces of the three great emperors of the Netherworld Palace became increasingly ugly. Although they have never been born in the Netherworld Palace, their origins can be traced back to the ancient times. With their status, after attaining the Emperor's Way, they actually still can't take down the three quasi-emperors. This naturally makes their faces extremely ugly, and their killing power is even worse, and the world is shattered. Who can you kill? Zhang Juxing shouted angrily, the invincible supreme bones in his body glowed, and a supreme aura that ruled over all living beings emitted. Immediately afterwards, a bright beam of fairy light fell. It was an immortal catastrophe, known as the most terrible catastrophe in the world. It can destroy powerful enemies in the sky. This is the supreme treasure technique that Zhang Juxing has learned from the bones of the invincible supreme being. Although now, he has not yet fully comprehended this treasure technique. But even if it is not complete, such destruction will the calamity and punishment still made even the emperor tremble. There was a sneer. The killing calamity of the Netherworld Emperor was shattered by the calamity light from the sky, and even the G-Dao Emperor's soldiers were knocked away. The Netherworld Emperor's face turned pale, and a hint of laughter escaped from the corner of his mouth. Blood. Obviously, the killing power contained in the calamity light from the sky caused serious injuries to his body. Wind. On the other side of Feng Wuxia, he formed seals with his hands to form an ancient curse. At first glance, the ancient curse seemed to be the origin of some great avenue, and it contained endless magic. This was the talent of the ancestor Wu Tianwu. The magical power can generate endless winds of destruction, destroying all the heavens and worlds. A whimpering sound sounded. It was like thousands of ghosts roaring. I saw that the great emperor of Netherworld Palace who fought against Feng Wuxia instantly fell into the law of endless destruction storm. In the blink of an eye, countless bloody scars appeared on the great emperor's body. Seal of the human emperor. On the side of Prince Zixiao, his hands changed into seals, and he directly used one of Zixiao human emperor's original killing techniques. The laws of heaven and earth roared at this moment. The third one suppressed by the G-Dao emperor's soldiers. The emperor's face changed drastically at this moment. He felt that his own emperor's laws were faintly suppressed by Prince Zixiao. It seemed to be the suppression of Tianxin's mark. Could it be that the former emperor Zixiao, not completely dead yet? Very strong. The three of them all have the qualifications of a great emperor and can condense the mark of Tianxin. Those creatures who gathered in the eastern wilderness couldn't help but sigh when they saw the destructive power of Zhang Juxing and the others. If Zhang Juxing and the others could receive a gift from heaven, then maybe a supreme being could be born again in Dai Holy Land. The Emperor of Heaven is coming. Such shocking talents are simply terrifying. The luck of Dai Holy Land is really amazing. Boom boom boom. In the brutal fighting, there are mysterious killing curses in Dai Holy Land, breaking come out of nowhere. Those mysterious killing curses all contain Qin Hao's laws of the Emperor of Heaven, and have infinite killing power. Although the three great emperors of Nether Palace have escaped the killing curses, other quasi-emperor realms can. There was no such good luck, and many people were affected by the devastating impact. Once attacked by the killing curse, the end would be death of body and soul, without exception. Even the quasi-emperor who holds the ancient emperor's weapons and the ultimate emperor's weapons, they can't stop those world-destroying killing curses. The power of the Emperor of Heaven. In Dai Holy Land, is there still an emperor realm in charge? Those countless creatures who have gathered in the eastern wilderness are all hotly debated. Without the cultivation of the great emperor, how can they activate the killing methods left by the Emperor of Heaven? There are strong people who use secret techniques to see through the imperial formation of Dai Holy Land. Found the source of controlling those killing arrays. That is. I see. There is indeed an emperor in Dai Holy Land, but he is not a monk. Instead, he is the body of the heavenly demon emperor that Qin Hao brought back from the Nanling demon clan in the past. When the Zixiao human emperor went through the tribulation, that body, the emperor's body, can only hold back the supreme self-destruction. But now, judging from the imperial power emanating from the body of the demon emperor, it is probably not weaker than the perfect emperor. Netherworld Ghost. Seeing that the quasi-emperors were suffering more and more casualties, the three great emperors of Netherworld Mansion immediately repelled Zhang Juxing and the others, and then the three of them worked together to perform a forbidden technique. The gloomy Netherworld energy was boiling at this moment. Diffused, covering the sky and the sun. In the aura of such Netherworld ghosts, a ferocious and vicious Netherworld ghost was condensed. The aura of that Netherworld ghost made countless creatures in the eastern wasteland feel terrified. That heavenly ghost. Very dangerous. I'm afraid it's not much weaker than the great emperor who condensed the Tianxin seal. Who are these people? How come I've never heard of it before? Countless creatures in the eastern wasteland exclaimed in shock and fear. Almost all the top experts in the Xianhuang ancient star have entered the path to immortality. Who else can suppress this terrifying ghost now? Boom. But right here at this time, an earth-shaking loud noise suddenly came from the distant sky. What accompanied it was an indescribable sense of oppression from the immortal world. Road to immortality. At this moment, not only Dong Huang, but all the creatures in Xianhuang ancient star were all looking towards the road to becoming immortals. Even the three great emperors who worked together to sacrifice the netherworld ghost, as well as Zhang Juxing and other people from Taoist Holy Land, they all stopped fighting and looked over. Sure enough, the road to immortality above the nine heavens was gradually disappearing. Creatures, extremely embarrassed, fell out of the road to immortality. Those creatures were the ones who had been on the road to immortality before. On the road, the creatures who luckily escaped the disaster. Phew. Suddenly, a weak space crack appeared around the immortal road. Then, a bright and dazzling fairy light poured out from the space crack. In an instant, that fairy light, that is, they came to the east wasteland and came to the sky above. Dei Holy Land. All the creatures in the east wasteland were shocked. After taking a closer look, their expressions were even more moved. Those in that fairy light were none other than Zhang Taishu, great sage Luo and others. People from a holy land. Qin Hao was naturally among them. But at this time, Qin Hao was just like what they had seen before. His whole body was stained with blood, with wounds all over his body. His body was even more dilapidated, and his breath was almost gone. Did the heavenly emperor really suffer a disaster on his way to becoming an immortal? This scene shocked countless creatures in the eastern wasteland. This is a big event. Once the news comes, the entire universe will be shaken. Die. Zhang Taishu and others who returned to the Holy Land took a look at Netherworld Mansion and others, and immediately understood. This was when they were going to become immortals, and they were preparing to take advantage of them. Qin Yi's eyes were cold, and the flowers of immortal flowers were blooming. In the blink of an eye, 10 true bodies evolved and rushed out with murderous intent. Puff! The next moment, the sky was filled with blood and explosions. Along with the Netherworld Ghost and the three great emperors, the people in the Netherworld Mansion had not yet reacted. What happened was that they were all killed. You know, Qin Yi not only condensed the Tianxin seal, but also perfected the chaos body. She was only one step away from being able to transform into the innate origin. In her eyes, an emperor at this level is said to be, it is not an exaggeration to be as small as an ant. Get out of Dong Huang within 3 breaths. After that, Qin Yi's cold eyes looked at the creatures gathered in the eastern wasteland with wanton killing intent. Phew! Immediately, those creatures who were originally shaken in their hearts immediately used secret techniques and escaped. Qin Yi's shock was piercing to the bone. The killing intent made them feel a real sense of death. At this time, Qin Hao, who fell into a coma, was brought into the immortal ancient forbidden land by Zhang Juxing. This was Qin Hao tearing apart the void, take them back to Xianhuang ancient star, and give the order after being unconscious. Looking at Qin Hao who disappeared into the immortal ancient forbidden land, Zhang Taishu and others all looked solemn and the atmosphere was dead. Qin Hao's injuries this time were too serious. To be honest, when they saw Qin Hao's horrific injuries before, they thought Qin Hao was about to die. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 186. Dong Huang. Tao Yi Holy Land. In the ethereal ancient forbidden land of immortality. The 9-story fairy tower floated out, scattering countless 9-color fairy lights, covering Qin Hao. Qin Hao made seals with his hands, still unconscious, and quietly suspended under the 9-story fairy tower. Qin Hao's body was filled with the aura of time and air. This makes the area where Qin Hao is located, like the 7-star space-time tower, with a time flow rate dozens of times higher. Although Qin Hao seemed to be in a coma, his consciousness was always awake. However, the injuries inside his body were too serious, and he was trying his best to stabilize the injuries inside his body. In this battle, the true immortal Dharma Phantasm, although relying on the ability to unlock the essence and blood of the future, never escaped. But Qin Hao also suffered serious injuries that were almost difficult to heal. Whether it was the destructive power of that drop of essence and blood or the immortal murderous aura of the true immortal, Qin Hao's vitality and origin had reached the point of almost collapse. Those injuries hurt the root cause, and even the 6 secret realms were shaken. Qin Hao must now try his best to maintain the 6 secret realms from collapse. This is Dao injury. Even in the 9-story fairy tower, there are countless spiritual treasures from heaven and earth. But those heaven and earth spiritual treasures were of little use to Qin Hao at this time. These Dao injuries can only be cured gradually by relying on him to cultivate slowly. Just like the fusion of the 6 secret realms, it cannot be achieved by refining the heaven and earth spiritual treasures. Not only that, there is still a strange immortal energy left in his body, which is constantly raging and sweeping. Qin Hao had to use the 9-story fairy tower to suppress the strange fairy energy that was waiting to enter his body. All in all, Qin Hao is indeed in an unprecedented state of weakness. That's why he wanted to enter the immortal ancient forbidden land and use the Tao Emperor's understanding of the laws left in this forbidden land to heal his Tao injuries. Until this moment, Qin Hao was completely confirmed. The Dao Emperor, who has been missing for some reason since ancient times, is definitely far superior to the Dao Emperor. Even now, Qin Hao's combat power has reached the level of the Emperor of Heaven. But when facing the Tao Emperor's laws in the immortal ancient forbidden land, he still felt insignificant. But the strange thing is that the laws of Emperor Dao don't seem to be like the laws of true immortals in the immortal realm. That kind of law aura should not be weaker than the way of true immortals. It seems to be a separate cultivation system. However, Qin Hao vaguely sensed a sense of familiarity from the breadth of laws. When Qin Hao was in the immortal ancient forbidden land, he used the 9-story immortal tower and the law of the great Dao Emperor to sneak into seclusion. The Xianhuang 5 realms, as well as the universe star realm, have already set off huge waves. Those creatures who escaped from the road to immortality made the dangers of the road to immortality known to the public. When he learned that there were immortal beings guarding the road to becoming an immortal, the entire universe was shaken. If this happens, wouldn't it mean that no one in the Xianhuang universe can become an immortal anymore? Along with the spread of the immortal beings guarding, there is also Qin Hao's shocking record of defeating immortals in adversity. This once again shocked the creatures in the universe. In the imperial realm, defy heaven and defeat the immortals. No wonder Qin Hao was injured by the path of destruction. And when he learned that Qin Hao had suffered an extremely serious Taoist injury and was in retreat for nirvana, there was an undercurrent surging in the noisy and shocking universe. No matter what era or what kind of creature, no one would want to have an insurmountable mountain pressing above their head. Qin Hao was seriously injured and dying. It was the perfect time to take action. If he could be reborn in nirvana and return to the top, he would probably be able to enter the mortal realm. If that happens, looking at the entire Xianhuang universe, Qin Hao will be truly unbeatable. This time, even the ancient forces in the depths of the universe that had been sleeping in dust were born. The people of Dai Holy Land did not pay attention to the movements in the cosmic star field. However, in the 5 realms of Xianhuang, anyone who dared to take the opportunity to test the territory was brutally suppressed. Although Qin Hao was in seclusion and could not take action, Qin Yi and others were not seriously injured. When there was an attack by immortal magic at the gate of the immortal realm, Qin Hao swept them away and sealed them. When suppressing the turmoil in the 5 regions, Qin Yi, Zhou Yang, Zhang Taishu and others also took turns practicing in seclusion. The people of the Holy Land who survived on the road to immortality this time all gained great insights. This kind of understanding is enough to give them amazing help in their cultivation journey. Even Zhang Taishu and others who set foot in the imperial realm gained insights from this retreat. However, the tree wants to be quiet but the wind doesn't stop. Just 2 years after the iron-blooded suppression, a huge turmoil swept across again. The purpose this time is still Daoyi Holy Land. Boom! On this day, along with the sound of thunder, creatures with terrifying aura descended from the sky above the eastern wasteland. Almost all the powerful creatures in Xianhuang ancient star were alarmed. They all looked towards Donghuang and kept exclaiming. Although there had been news before that there would be ancient forces joining forces to subvert Daoyi Holy Land. But the creatures in the 5 realms of Xianhuang did not expect that this matter would come so quickly. Those signs. The Nether Palace in the Imperial Pass battlefield. The Tianshan Pavilion in the Tianshan Star territory. The ancient Immortal Temple in the ancient Tianxian realm. The Yin Temple in the 9 Yin Star region. Those creatures who came to the eastern wasteland include human monks and creatures of all races. But generally speaking, they can be divided into 4 major forces. As those ancient creatures escape from the road to immortality, and the attention of the universe star field. The 4 major forces that came together were also recognized by the ancient beings. And when their origins were revealed by the ancient beings, the entire Xianhuang ancient star became silent. These 4 ancient forces were actually all immortals. Inheritance is a giant that has always been hidden in the world. In the history of the mysterious universe, they have only done one thing. But this thing made those ancient creatures still tremble with fear when they think about it now. That is, in the ancient times, these 4 giants joined forces and directly ruined the entire ancient era. In that catastrophe, all life in the star field of the universe was almost extinct. It was a real corpse laying in the star field, blood dyeing the universe. This leads to the fact that in later generations, the ancient era will be as if it never existed, and there are no records in various ancient books. No one knows the cause of the catastrophe that ended the ancient era. But the 4 immortal forces, the existence of the world has always been a taboo that those ancient creatures dare not mention. Now, these 4 major forces that once ruined the ancient times are actually born together again? Could it be that the world-destroying catastrophe in the past has happened again? Coming again? 2 ancient gods from the mythical era. 7 ancient emperors and great emperors who embody the mark of Tianxin. 40 Hedeo emperor-level combat powers. In Dayi Holy Land, headed by Zhang Taishu, great sage Liwo, Zhou Yang, and others, all came out of seclusion. When they saw the terrifying combat power of the 4 major forces, everyone in Daoyi Holy Land could not help but show solemn expressions. Such a lineup, extremely powerful enough to easily destroy an immortal star universe. At the moment of solemnity, Daoyi Holy Land and others were also extremely surprised. Let's not talk about the 40 great emperor creatures who are in harmony with the Tao. Where did the 7 creatures that condensed the mark of Tianxin come from? The aura of law in the 7 of them obviously only attained enlightenment in this life. But before, except for Zhou Yang and Qin Yiyi, who condensed the Tianxin seal when they attained enlightenment, they had never sensed the birth of a great emperor of this level from other places. You must know that the condensed Tianxin seal during the battle against 10,000 Daos will alarm the entire universe. Could it be that these ancient emperors and great emperors who condensed the Tianxin seal came from other universes? Of course, those who put the greatest pressure on them were the 2 ancient gods from the mythical age. These 2 are ancient gods worthy of being on par with Qin Hao. Fantasy: after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author: love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 187. Those who kill me in Netherworld Palace should be punished. In this solemn atmosphere, in the Nether Palace, an ancient god from the mythical era spoke indifferently. As he spoke, the entire Xianhuang ancient star was shaking at this moment, and billions of laws were manifested. Among those laws of destruction, the word kill condensed into one law shook the heavens and the earth. At this moment, all the creatures in Xianhuang ancient star felt the overwhelming murderous intention. It felt like there would be a law to kill at any time in the nine heavens. The calamity falls, making people frightened. Follow your words. An extremely ancient creature raised its head in horror and spoke in disbelief. He recognized this supreme magical technique that was famous in the immortal ancient period. Since the disappearance of the immortal ancient period, this supreme magical technique has become the most famous again. He has never been born. I originally thought that this invincible magic had been completely lost in the long history. However, I didn't expect that the ancient giants of Nether Palace actually perfected it. Want to destroy my Taoyi holy land? Just try it. Hearing the words of the ancient heavenly lord, Zhang Taishu sneered, and his eyes were solemn and replaced by strong murderous intent. With the current background of his holy land, even the ancient heavenly lord in the mythical era is not incapable of resisting. Boom! As soon as Zhang Taishu finished speaking, the ancient heavenly lord of Netherworld Palace's eyes turned cold. Immediately afterwards, the word Zhu condensed by the law fell like a meteor. The endless law of violent destruction swept violently between the heaven and the earth, like a world-destroying storm. Surging. I saw that the word Zhu that said Fa Sui was blocked by the imperial formation of Dei Holy Land. That imperial formation was deployed by Qin Hao according to the laws of the Emperor of Heaven. Even the same level of Tianzun, and it is difficult for the Emperor of Heaven to defeat it in a short period of time. Let alone a killing technique that only follows words and orders. It seems that this world-destroying war is inevitable. Seeing both sides almost showing up, they were fighting each other, with murderous intent raging. The powerful monks and creatures who had gathered in the eastern wasteland were all watching intently. On one side, it was the invincible Holy Land where the Supreme Emperor of Heaven was born and a new era of the universe was ushered in. On the other side, it is rumored that the ancient immortal method once joined forces to destroy the four major forces in the ancient era. Now, these two behemoths are facing each other. Who knows, what will be the outcome? Oh! When the murderous intention becomes more and more intense, a blast of the figure surrounding the nine-color fairy light stepped out of the void. It was Qin Yi. After Qin Yi arrived, she walked directly out of the Heavenly Emperor's magic circle and appeared above Dei Holy Land. Her clear eyes were filled with a bone-chilling chill. Even the heaven and earth were frozen. Since the previous bloody suppression could not make them remember, then today, they would suppress and kill these great emperor creatures again. She wanted to see how many people were still not afraid of death, dare to mess with her holy land. Today, none of you can survive. After saying that, Qin Yi took action. She waved her sleeves, and countless rays of chaotic fairy light swept out like countless fairy swords. The four major forces including Nether Palace, Yin Temple, Ancient Immortal Temple, and Tiansheng Pavilion, the expressions of the quasi-emperors all changed drastically. Chaos body is complete. With such killing power, I am afraid there are few opponents among the great emperors who have condensed the Tianjin seal. Even the more than 40 emperors all looked solemn. They sensed a strong sense of danger from Qin Yi. So what if the chaos body is completed? Just one person, but he still wants to change the world. It seems that there will be another dead body in the god burial pit. In the Nether Palace, 3 giant emperors who condensed the mark of Tianjin stepped out and spoke coldly. In ancient times, the lineage of gods was so powerful that they claimed to dominate hundreds of millions of ancient stars. In the end, they were not killed by the 4 major forces. After that, all the gods were buried in the pit of gods. Even though Qin Yi was a chaotic body that was rare in ancient times, and she had cultivated to great perfection. But after all, she was only one person, so how could she withstand such a large formation? Kill. Immediately, the three great emperors and giants all activated the Tianjin seal and invoked the blessings of 10,000 laws. As soon as the three of them took action, it was the ancient forbidden law of the immortal ancient period, and their killing energy shook the heaven and the earth. Break. Qin Yi floated lightly, using the holy art of 10,000 transformations to remove the forbidden laws of the three great emperors. After that, Qin Yi stepped into the air, the mysterious laws filled the air, and his figure became like a dream. Not good. At this moment, the heavenly lord of Netherworld Palace narrowed his eyes and immediately realized something was wrong, so he wanted to take action. But unfortunately, it was too late. I only saw this moment. With Qin Yi as the center, the long river of time, they all seemed to be frozen, as if they were stopping for her. Qin Yi himself was like a fairy light, passing through the sky in an instant. The bright and dazzling chaotic fairy light followed the flicker. Almost at the same time, the sound of bloody explosions sounded. Before the three emperors with the Tianjin seal could react, they all exploded. The explosions not only caused the emperor's body, but also their souls, Dao fruit and Tianjin seal. At this moment, they completely collapsed, turned into nothingness, and dissipated in the void. In an instant, all three supreme emperors who condensed the mark of Tianjin were killed. Hateful. The face of the heavenly lord of Netherworld Palace who was just about to take action was extremely ugly. As the path to becoming an immortal disappears, the suppression of the laws of heaven and earth will become even more terrifying. Even with the foundation of their Netherworld Palace, the death of the three great emperors who condensed the mark of Tianjin, it can definitely be said that it is a strain on one's muscles and bones. Does it involve time and space? The ancient heavenly lord of the Yin temple has a strange color flickering in his eyes. The extremely fast secret technique Qin Yi used just now seems to have stopped the flow of time. This is obviously the way to travel through time and space at extremely fast speeds. Not only does the body have the chaotic body has also comprehended such a terrifying secret method. It is very likely that Qin Yi will reach the pinnacle and step into the level of the heavenly emperor in the future. By then, I am afraid that he will rule the heavens like the heavenly emperor before him. Is the perfection of the chaos body so terrifying? Those countless creatures who gathered in the eastern wasteland were also dumbfounded and unbelievable at this moment. Although the power of the chaos body has been recorded in various ancient books. However, this is too powerful, right? You know, that is not an ordinary Hedeo emperor, but three emperors who have condensed the seal of Tianjin. With such terrifying and heaven-defying combat power, who else can resist such a terrifying and heaven-defying fighting power, except for the Emperor of Heaven at the top of the imperial realm? Die. At this time, the ancient heavenly lord of the Netherworld mansion had already come out to kill. As soon as the words were spoken, the word death that exuded the breath of death condensed on the sky. The word death was like a death cage, it headed towards Qin Yi to suppress it. The ancient heavenly lord of the Netherworld mansion made seals with both hands, sacrificed an ancient emperor weapon, and attacked from the front. Not only that, the ancient heavenly lord of the Yin temple, in a flash, looked like a ghost disappeared. At this moment, Qin Yi felt three bone-chilling murderous intentions, locking her tightly. Obviously, the target of the ancient heavenly lord of the Yin temple was also her. Destroy. But Qin Yi's expression did not fluctuate at all. There was a chaotic fairy light shining all over his body, and a golden Buddha light condensed between his eyebrows and turned into a mark. It was a golden relic. It had a mysterious and ethereal Buddha sound, like an ancient statue the gods and Buddhas are preaching to all living beings. The chaotic fairy light merges with the golden Buddha Dharma. At this moment, it is like a bright sun, shining all over the world. Whether it is the weird word death falling from the sky, like a death cage, or the ancient sacrifice the emperor's soldiers and the two ancient Tianzun who attacked with destruction and killing were all affected. Those chaotic Buddha lights that blended with each other were too terrifying. Even the giants at the Tianzun level did not dare to be careless and went all out to resist it. Immediately afterwards, a clicking sound appeared. I saw that the entire sky completely collapsed at this moment, turning into a dark and chaotic black hole in space. Immediately, above the 9 heavens, a supreme law fell, moving Qin Yi and the 3 of them to empty space. Fantasy, after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 188. By bullying the few with more, do you think that there is no one in this holy land? Seeing that the 2 ancient gods actually joined forces to suppress Qin Yi, Zhang Taishu and others were furious. Swish swish. Immediately, headed by Zhang Taishu, the great emperors and quasi-emperors of Dei Holy Land roared out. Although the emperor-level combat power of Dei Holy Land is far inferior to the 4 major forces that have joined forces. But this is the home field of Dei Holy Land. When Zhang Taishu and others rushed out, whether it was the heavenly emperor's magic circle or the Holy Land's thousands of stars in the sky were trembling at this moment. Immediately afterwards, a series of terrifying killing calamities full of destruction crashed down like a violent storm. Do it! The Taoists from the 4 major forces, including Nether Palace, also took action immediately. But they obviously had a plan in advance, and their troops were divided into 2 groups. One group went to deal with Zhang Taishu and other emperors, and the other group went to attack Dei Holy Land. The 4 major forces chose to join forces at this time because Qin Hao was indeed weak. But their purpose was not to fear that Qin Hao would be able to overpower them after his rebirth. What they want is the lost inheritance of the ancient immortals. Their 4 major forces have been investigating for a long time. But it was not until a few years ago that the Netherworld Mansion found out that the lost immortal ancient inheritance had fallen into the hands of the great Dao Emperor. After they confirmed the news, they wanted to take action immediately. But at that time, because Qin Hao was at his peak, he first fought against the gods, and then killed the Tianzun. He was invincible in the world and respected by all 10 directions. Therefore, they endured it and followed the high priest's divination to wait until the road to immortality opened before they were born again. And the situation was indeed as predicted by the high priest. Qin Hao was robbed on the road to immortality and was seriously injured and dying. It's just that Nether Palace didn't expect that Qin Yi and others would return at such a critical moment. Nether Palace, which originally wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to monopolize the ancient inheritance, had to inform other forces. The reason for joining forces is not because Nether Palace is afraid of Dei Holy Land. To be honest, Dei Holy Land without Qin Hao is not in the eyes of Nether Palace. However, their birth has been known to the Yin Temple and other 3 major forces, so they took advantage of the situation. Boom! Immediately, a shocking battle that violently destroyed the world broke out in an instant. Dozens of ancient emperors and great emperors, hundreds of quasi-emperors, and killing formations containing the mighty power of the heavenly emperor. Such monstrous and devastating killings made the entire eastern wasteland teeter on the verge of collapse, as if it was about to collapse. Above the sky, those mysterious laws reappeared, and Zhang Taishu and others were also introduced into the void space. Although the 4 major forces including Nether Palace divided their forces into 2 groups. However, the imperial-level combat power of Dao Yi Holy Land is still far inferior to that of the Daoists of the 4 major forces. However, after experiencing the baptism of becoming immortals, Zhang Taishu and others were transformed. Now they, even the Wuqi Emperor who has condensed the Tianjin seal, are unable to suppress them. Therefore, although the fighting between the 2 sides was extremely fierce, the battle situation was in a stalemate. As for the great emperors and quasi-emperors who attacked Xiongdao Yi Holy Land, they also encountered trouble. The killing array in Dei Holy Land was far more powerful than they imagined. Even though they also used the ancient killing formation, they were still unable to break through and were blocked out. Tisk. At this time, above the sky, a bright and dazzling chaotic fairy light directly tore the heaven and the earth apart. When the chaotic fairy light passed by, the sky and the earth shattered in an instant, with the power of destroying the heaven and the earth. The fight between Qin Yi and the three of them has reached a fever pitch and is about to determine life and death. That's right, it's life and death. The fierce killings of Qin Yi and the three men no longer determine the outcome of the battle, but each other's lives. Once defeated, it is absolutely impossible to survive. Call out. As the blood exploded, Qin Yi, who was stained with the emperor's blood, had an ancient mark on her hands, and the emperor's blood filled the fingerprints. Immediately afterwards, a beam of hazy fairy light soared into the sky from Qin Yi. On those 9 days, a shocking vision emerged. In that vision, an ethereal figure appeared, wearing a snow-white dress, shrouded in chaotic mist, and his slender body remained motionless. It was as if, in the area where the ethereal figure was, even time had vaguely stopped flowing. One could vaguely see that the face of the ethereal figure was wearing a grimace mask that seemed to be crying but not crying, and half smiling but not smiling. This is the amazing magical power that Qin Yi realized after studying the heaven-swallowing demon Kung Fu. It can be revealed that the peerless empress of the past was invincible in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Although Qin Yi has now reached a level that is comparable to that of the ancient gods. But I still admire the peerless empress who pioneered the heaven-swallowing demon technique and was so stunningly beautiful. After all, she was just climbing up step by step, following the path taken by her predecessors. But that peerless empress actually created a supreme avenue from scratch. Tisk. At this moment, the ancient heavenly lords of Nether Palace and Yin Temple all felt a strong sense of danger. They immediately used the supreme secret method to protect their bodies, but it was still too late. Only a ray of chaotic light flashed in the void. The ancient gods of Netherworld Mansion and Yin Temple all had blood exploding on their bodies, and their injuries were serious. What kind of forbidden technique is that? Is it a real magic method? This made the eyes of the two ancient gods look serious. Although Qin Yi was troublesome to them before, they could still suppress it by joining forces. But now, with the manifestation of the Misty Empress, in their hearts, a bone-chilling chill. Die. At this moment, Qin Yi's body seemed to have broken through the sky, appearing like a dream. Under the amplification of the vision of the peerless Empress, Qin Yi's combat power in all aspects soared rapidly. Even at this moment, it was already the completed chaotic body has exploded to its full potential. There was a clicking sound. With his bare hands, Qin Yi blasted the ancient emperor weapons of the heavenly lord of Netherworld Mansion. As the original imperial weapons were shattered, the heavenly lord of Netherworld Mansion suffered a backlash, and in his hands he vomited blood continuously. Tisk. Qin Yi took the opportunity to attack, squeezed the chaos seal with her hand, and attacked directly between the eyebrows of the Nether Palace Tianzun. Help me! Qin Yi's strike contained supreme killing intent. And in the current state of the Netherworld Heavenly Lord, it was impossible to stop him. At this critical moment of life and death, when the Netherworld Heavenly Lord resisted with all his strength, he also shouted for help. Oh! Then, the ghostly Heavenly Lord of the Netherworld Palace flashed his eyes and used ancient forbidden techniques to kill Qin Yi. If Qin Yi did not change his attack, the Heavenly Lord of the Netherworld Palace might be robbed and die. But Qin Yi could not defend himself. But he will definitely die under his forbidden technique. No matter what the outcome is, there is no harm to him. If Qin Yi really insists on not stopping, then the Nether Palace Heavenly Lord will die. Anyway, the only thing I care about is the ancient inheritance that was stolen by Emperor Dao in the past. You crazy? But at this difficult moment, Qin Yi did not stop, and still used the supreme killing seal to suppress it. The Heavenly Lord of Netherworld Mansion, who was unable to escape, couldn't help but curse. Poof! But before he finished speaking, the chaos-killing seal broke through the air. The heavenly lord of Netherworld Mansion's eyebrows immediately exploded, and his soul and Tau seal were annihilated in an instant. You must know that this move is Qin Yi's pinnacle killing technique augmented by the vision of the peerless Empress. Even if it is an ancient heavenly lord, if he is hit in the front, he will definitely die. But almost at the same time, the strange forbidden technique of the Yin Temple Heavenly Lord also broke through the air. When the law of destruction passed by, even this void space collapsed faintly, which seemed to be unbearable. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 189. Bang. Seeing that Qin Yi was about to die under the supreme forbidden technique. The peerless Empress surrounded by chaotic mist seemed to be sensing something at this moment. A ray of bronze light fell like lightning, blocking the forbidden killing technique of the Yin Temple Heavenly Lord. It was a bronze mask that looked simple and unremarkable. However, even the Yin Temple and the supreme killing technique of the ancient Heavenly Lord could not break through it. How come? This made the Yin Temple Heavenly Lord's pupils shrink as sharply as needles. Unbelievable. Isn't it a secret magic phenomenon? How could an ancient treasure manifest? Could it be that it was transformed by laws? The secret magic of Emperor Tianxing. Can the elephant easily block the forbidden technique of the Heavenly Lord level? Is this possible? Boom. When the Heavenly Lord in the Yin Temple could not believe it, Qin Yi had already used his backhand to attack with the Chaos Seal again. Not good. The Heavenly Lord of the Yin Temple, covered with ice-cold bones, immediately retreated at a very fast speed. Whoosh. But at this time, the bronze mask, with mysterious runes flashing, turned into laws and order and came out. The man who was originally going to escape the Heavenly Lord of the Yin Temple, who walked away in the air, was instantly entangled by the laws and orders. The Chaos Seal blasted out, and countless bright chaotic fairy lights exploded. The Heavenly Lord of the Yin Temple, who was swept away by the law and order, was also immediately afterwards, he stepped into the footsteps of the Heavenly Lord of Netherworld Palace. At this point, this war that destroyed the world and destroyed the world came to an end. Two ancient Heavenly Lords were just killed. Looking at the two ancient gods who were completely stunned one after another. In the eastern wasteland, countless powerful creatures who were hiding and watching the battle were all living in a sluggish state. Even Qin Yi was born with a chaotic body and had already reached perfection. But after all, she is just the great emperor who condensed the mark of Tianxin. Now, he actually went against the will of heaven and powerfully killed two ancient gods from the mythical era. In a daze, they seemed to see the figure of Qin Hao from Qin Yi. The former Qin Hao was also so invincible that he was able to kill even half-immortals before he even attained enlightenment. Now Qin Yi seems to have inherited Qin Hao's heaven-defying fighting power, which is enough to sweep across the imperial realm without a doubt. Qin Yi can definitely break the shackles and reach the top of the world at the top of the emperor realm. At that time, Qin Yi will truly become the second Qin Hao, the invincible hand in the universe. Ancestor is dead. Not only the creatures in the eastern wasteland were shocked and lost their voices, but the creatures in the Netherworld Mansion and the Yin Temple also had their expressions changed greatly, and they could not hide their panic. The Emperor's creatures in the ancient Immortal Temple and the Tianshan Pavilion were also frightened and wanted to retreat. As strong as the ancient Tianzun, they all died at the hands of Qin Yi. What's the use of them continuing to stay? Are they going to die? I said, no one of you can leave alive today. Qin Yi, whose 9-color fairy clothes had been dyed red by the Emperor's blood, walked out of the void space. Although she was seriously injured, her killing intent was not reduced at all. Even after being stained with the blood of the Emperor, After that, her murderous intention became more powerful and terrifying. Boom! Just when Qin Yi's murderous intention was rioting and was about to be suppressed bloodily, the laws of heaven and earth suddenly rioted. Then, the sky was torn apart, and a giant hand of law emerged from the universe. In the star field, someone was coming from the sky. The target was Qin Yi. This is among the powerful men in Dei Holy Land. The expression of Prince Zixiao, who was fighting in a bloody battle, changed. That giant hand of law was the same one that his father had attacked when he attained enlightenment. Now, this mysterious giant hand of unknown origin is suppressing it again. Cut. Qin Yi's eyes turned cold, and a strong energy of chaos rose throughout her body, and she attacked the giant hand of law with all her strength. Although the giant hand of law contained a terrifying killing power that made her heart palpitate, Qin Yi did not flinch. Because behind her is the holy land of Dao Yi. She can't retreat. Boom! The giant hand of law seems to contain the laws of immortality, and it suddenly suppresses with boundless power. At this moment, all the creatures in the eastern wilderness are suppressed. It feels like the soul is about to be broken. That's because the power contained in the giant hand of law is so terrifying. It feels like the law of the entire world is suppressing them at this moment. Click. Attack with all your strength. The Qin Yi who came out did block the giant hand of the law. But she also suffered extremely fatal injuries as a result. It can be clearly seen that Qin Yi's hands shattered directly, and the flesh and blood all over her body exploded. Even though in this way, Qin Yi only blocked the falling of the giant hand of law without smashing it. Swish. And at this moment, in the giant hand of law, there were countless chains of law, condensed and appeared, to seal Qin Yi. This look is very similar to the scene where Qin Yi used a bronze mask to seal the ancient Tianzun of the Taiyan temple and kill him. Obviously, the owner of this giant hand of law has been paying attention in this battle. No action was taken until now. Boom! Until Qin Yi, who was unable to resist the giant hand of the law, chaos talisman condensed in his eyes. Then, a boundless and vast power of heaven emerged at this moment, shocking endless universe star field. Heavenly catastrophe. This is the calamity of the Emperor of Heaven. Senior sister wants to survive the tribulation of the Emperor of Heaven. Zhang Juxing exclaimed when he felt the terrifying aura of the heavenly tribulation. Others in Dei Holy Land also sensed it one after another and showed shocked expressions. In this situation, Qin Yi obviously wanted to use the Emperor's help to survive the heavenly Emperor's tribulation. The power of calamity obliterates that giant hand of law. The giant hand of law is indeed powerful. But it is impossible to resist the power of heaven and earth. As long as you are in this cosmic star field, you will be suppressed by heaven and earth. Even if he transcends the realm of humanity and sets foot in the realm of immortality, this is the case. Bang! The giant hand of law that originally had a chain of laws sweeping through it to seal Qin Yi suddenly appeared with countless divine patterns at this moment, and then the entire giant hand exploded directly. It was not that it was suppressed by the heavenly emperor's tribulation, but that it self-destruct. Obviously, that giant hand of law did not want to be contaminated by the heavenly emperor's tribulation. Boom! With the roar of thunder, the entire eastern wasteland was destroyed in the blink of an eye. Black thunder clouds covered the area. The four major forces of Dei Holy Land and Netherworld Palace, who were fighting fiercely, stopped and dispersed. That was the catastrophe of the heavenly emperor. Once affected by the catastrophe, his soul would definitely be scattered. Qin Yi, whose flesh and blood exploded all over his body, the flesh and blood were filled with bright divine light and chaotic energy. This caused her injuries to heal quickly. But even so, Qin Yi's condition was far worse than before. After suffering such a serious injury, even Daiji was vaguely affected. No matter how powerful the holy healing method she mastered, it was difficult to completely restore her injuries. However, Qin Yi did not care. Because, surviving the tribulation of the Emperor of Heaven between life and death, fully stimulating one's own potential, it suits her heart. In the past, when she became the Emperor after overcoming the tribulation, the reason why she gave up trying to reach the level of the Heavenly Emperor was because at that time, she could not fully stimulate her potential. Because Qin Yi wanted to transform the perfect chaotic body into transformed into an innate chaotic body. Qin Yi noticed it when she thoroughly understood the heaven-swallowing demon kung fu. Even though her chaotic body has been perfected, it can only reach the imperial realm at most. It is too difficult to use this to attack the fairyland. Now, only by using the power of thunder and tribulation from heaven and earth to transform the chaotic body, give birth to the innate energy, and turn it into the rumored innate chaotic body, can it be possible to set foot in the fairyland. Fantasy, after thousands of years of seclusion, I became a saint. Author, love to eat chicken legs. Chapter 190. Boom. As Qin Yi recovered from her injuries, her momentum gradually became stronger. The terrifying thunder catastrophe above the 9 heavens is becoming more and more shocking. It can be clearly seen that in those thunder tribulations, various world-destroying killings emerged. Immortal beings loomed, mythical killing formations gathered, and ancient curses manifested. Then, in the dark and oppressive rolling thunder clouds, 9-color thunder emerged. 9 heavens thunder tribulation. An extremely ancient creature exclaimed, extremely shocked. The 9 heavens thunder tribulation. This is a rumor, and it only appeared in the immortal ancient times. Because the creatures of the immortal ancient times, when going through the heavenly tribulation, will transform from acquired to innate, and become immortals. Cheng Sheng. Qin Yi has actually caused such a thunder disaster now. Doesn't that mean that Qin Yi's qualifications are comparable to those of ancient immortals? What kind of opportunity did the people of Dei Holy Land get at the end of the road to immortality? Those creatures who were lucky enough to escape from the road to immortality before were also extremely shocked. When the road to immortality opened before, among all the creatures that entered the road to immortality, only the people from Dei Holy Land led by Emperor Dao Tian succeeded in setting foot on the road to immortality. The end of the immortal road. Although Emperor Dao Tian was robbed as a result, the people of Dai Holy Land obviously got a shocking opportunity. Zhang Taishu and other people who successfully came back alive have undergone tremendous transformation in strength in just a few years. Of course, the one who has changed the most should be Qin Yi. One-on-one, she was able to kill the ancient heavenly lord against all odds. Now she has even caused the catastrophe of the heavenly emperor, which shows what a shocking opportunity she has received. Under the gaze of countless creatures, Qin Yi transformed into chaos and rushed directly into the thunder disaster. Boom! Immediately, the earth-shaking terrifying thunder exploded without restraint. The endless thunder and killing disaster also drowned Qin Yi in an instant. Although she couldn't see it, there was a human figure, but in the 9-color thunder, there was a chaotic divine light overflowing. Those chaotic divine lights were filled with indescribable power, and even the 9 heavens thunder tribulation was torn into pieces. Those earth-shattering world-destroying thunders during the tribulation, time passed slowly. When the destructive thunder tribulation lasted for half a month, all the creatures in the universe star field had moved expressions. At this moment, a force that was more terrifying than the 10,000 Dao laws appeared. The breath is gradually being born. The originally violent thunder tribulation of the 9 heavens is gradually becoming calm at this moment. It looks like the supreme thunder tribulation it was born from is being quickly annihilated. Boom! Accompanied by a ray of divine light of chaos fell down. The 9 heavens thunder tribulation that covered the sky and the sun was completely swept away. Surrounded by a chaotic seal, the peerless figure who surrendered to billions of laws was revealed. It was Qin Yi. This half-month journey through life and death not only allowed her to successfully reach the level of the Emperor of Heaven, but the already perfected chaotic body reached its peak, transforming from its innate origin. This also means that Qin Yi's qualifications have officially transformed, and she has the ability to pursue the fairyland. The potential. Boom. At this moment, in the depths of the universe, the murderous intention of the law with tyranny and destruction was condensed again. Countless creatures were alarmed. Is the giant hand of the law coming before? Qin Yi has just overcome the catastrophe. Take action when you are at your weakest. Swish, swish. In the Dei Holy Land, Zhang Taishu, Zhou Yang, Qin Fengxiu and others all flew into the air. They appeared around Qin Fengxiu to protect Qin Yi. Although their cultivation base is far inferior to Qin Yi's, they cannot fight against the odds against the ancient heavenly lord. However, they have also gained a lot of insights on the road to becoming immortals. If the giant hand of law comes again, they can still defeat it by joining forces. Resist 1 or 2. Few. When Zhang Taishu and others were looking solemn and waiting, deep in the Daoyi Holy Land, a deep and mysterious pupil looked like a supreme sword, looking towards the universe. At this moment, there was some turmoil in the world. The star field of the universe became dead in an instant. Even the violent and destructive law-killing intent became quiet. There is no other reason. The pressure contained in that mysterious pupil light is really terrible. The full of such the mysterious aura is like a fairy spirit above the 9 heavens, looking down at all living beings in the universe. It is the real aura of the immortal law, even purer than the aura of the immortal path on the road to immortality. Deo Tiendi. All the creatures in the universe reacted. There is no doubt that this supreme pupil light like a fairy spirit is definitely the Deo Tiendi who has awakened. A pupil light, shocking all realms in the universe. That person is rumored to be seriously injured. Deo Shang, the Deo Heavenly Emperor who may sit down, has already succeeded in Nirvana. If he really broke through Nirvana and was reborn, then the Deo Heavenly Emperor may have touched the fairyland. Deep in the star fields in the universe, there are a living fossil that had been in seclusion for countless years was disturbed. The mysterious immortal burial island also appeared again at this moment, looking at the Xianhuang ancient star. But in front of that supreme pupil of light that overwhelmed the universe, no one dared. There is something strange. Xianhuang ancient star, eastern wasteland. Master, have you recovered? Yao Bassian looked towards the direction of the immortal ancient forbidden area, with unconcealed excitement in his expression. Zhang Taishu, Zhou Yang, Qin Fengxiu and others were also quite happy. Judging from this terrifying immortal Deo aura, Qin Hao not only recovered from his injuries, but also seemed to be a blessing in disguise. Wrong. Qin Yi, who has stepped onto the level of the Emperor of Heaven and absorbed the essence of endless heaven and earth, perceives it more clearly. Although Qin Hao has condensed the aura of the immortal Deo law, his Deo injury has not recovered as before. This is because he wants to use did the oppression of life and death directly impact the fairyland? It wasn't until Qin Yi's energy and spirit completely recovered to its peak that the supreme pupil light gradually dissipated. The entire living beings in the Xianhuang ancient star breathed a sigh of relief, as if the 5 elements mountain pressing down on the head finally disappeared completely. The creatures of the 4 major forces, including the Nether Palace and the Taishan Temple, also came to their senses at this moment. It turned out that they still wanted to stay and see if they could take advantage of it, but they didn't expect that the giant hand of law was shocked by a pupil light. Therefore, after the terrifying immortal power's suppression disappeared, they immediately escaped. But unfortunately, Qin Yi did not give them another chance. Qin Yi, who stepped onto the level of the Emperor of Heaven and transformed from the chaotic body into the innate origin, has completely undergone earth-shaking changes in strength. She waved her 9-colored fairy clothes, and countless rays of chaotic fairy light, like billions of fairy swords, shot through the sky at extremely high speeds. In an instant, All the four major forces that had tried to escape until now were wiped out. During the killing, Qin Yi also took action, imprisoning and sealing many Imperial Realm souls. She wanted to know the origins of these four major forces that suddenly appeared. She wants to know even more, what is the purpose of these four major forces coming so eagerly to attack? If you want to destroy her holy land, then sending only two ancient heavenly lords here seems to underestimate her holy land. Soon, Qin Yi learned about the origins of the Nether Palace and other four major forces. I also know the purpose of their four major forces killing. What's more, he learned a piece of extremely important news for Zhang Taishu. Zhang Taishu's senior brother, Qin Hao's uncle, was actually arrested by Netherworld Mansion. It was precisely because I learned about the inheritance of the immortal ancient forbidden land from Uncle Qin Hao. Only at this critical moment would the Nether Palace and other forces join forces to attack Daoyi Holy Land. Their purpose is not to destroy Daoyi Holy Land, but to take away the immortal ancient forbidden land. After knowing the news, Qin Yi, Zhang Taishu and others came directly to the battlefield of Daiguan. But unfortunately, the Netherworld Mansion, which had been born before, mysteriously disappeared again. Even though they knew that the passage leading to Netherworld Mansion was in the God Burial Pit. Qin Yi and others failed to find Netherworld Mansion. They sensed some magical aura from the God Burial Pit. Obviously, Nether Palace used ancient immortal methods to completely seal and erase the passage.